Chosen one, you didn't stumble here by accident. You were summoned. There's something about you that heaven has had its eye on. And right now, in this exact moment, everything in the spirit is aligning for you to hear what's about to be released. Look at you, still standing after everything that tried to break you, still believing after all the delays, still carrying your fire when others let theirs go out. That's because you're not ordinary. You're marked. And that mark on your life is why this message found you. Because it's time to remind you who you are and what's about to happen next. This is not just another video, not just another word. This is your confirmation. You've been waiting, praying, and wondering if all the silent battles meant anything. And heaven's answer to you right now is yes. You are closer than you think. So lean in. Don't just watch, receive. Let this light you up from the inside. Because you're not just part of a crowd here. You are chosen. You are about to collide with what has been written for you all along. And when it happens, the world around you won't just notice. It will feel the impact. So get ready. This isn't entertainment. This is activation. You're here because you carry something the world needs. And heaven is about to prove that all along, you were right to believe. Looking for purpose and peace? Hit subscribe and start the journey. For a long stretch, this road has felt endless and heavy. The truth is, it has also felt deserted. The path chose you before you even knew you were walking it. And ever since you agreed to continue, nothing about your days has looked ordinary. There was a time when others could walk alongside you. But as your purpose began to reveal itself, it quietly created distance. Some faded without explanation. Some questioned your persistence, dismissed your devotion, or labeled you extreme, obsessive, unrelatable. What they never saw was how your resolve was forged in storms. Your faith wasn't borrowed from others. It was stitched together through nights you thought might never end. You wrestled through invisible trials that would have shattered many. You prayed without sound when language failed. You noticed what no one else noticed, the subtle shifts in the air, the weight in a room, the quiet intentions behind smiles. And still, you chose to remain soft, to stay grounded, to keep showing up. This solitude wasn't a punishment, but a shaping. You were removed, not rejected, to grow into something only silence could teach. You learned how to trust with no confirmation, how to stand without applause, how to hope with nothing to hold. And over time, you began to wonder if this silence would echo forever, if carrying a vision meant never being fully seen, if anyone would ever be able to hold the depth of what you carry without dropping it, if you would always have to lower your brightness just to keep others comfortable. Make your impact eternal. Join now and be a light in someone's darkness. But hear this clearly. That chapter is nearing its close. Someone is already being prepared who knows exactly what it costs to carry what you carry. Someone who has walked through heat and emerged with depth. Not someone intimidated by your fire, but someone with a flame of their own. Not someone who drains you, but someone who restores you. They won't shrink from your intensity. They've been tempered by their own. They'll know why your eyes water at quiet moments. They won't misread your stillness. They'll understand what it says. With them, you won't feel like too much. You'll feel finally met. When your paths cross, it won't be orchestrated by logic or driven by feeling alone. It will feel ancient and right. Your spirit will find a resting place. Your soul will feel understood. Your calling will feel affirmed. This connection won't arrive through force. It will arrive through timing. You've carried this weight alone for what feels like forever, but not much longer. There's already an appointed meeting written between two who have been set apart. And when it happens, it won't just change your story. It will send ripples into everything around you. Because when two lives, refined and marked, finally align, the world cannot help but feel the shift. If your heart overflows with divine love, now is the moment to let it shine. Click the super thank you button on YouTube and give $50 or more to help carry God's light to others. Your gift will bless not only your life, but countless others. You are part of His sacred plan. Your kindness may be the answer to someone's prayer. Share your blessings and honor His kingdom. May His grace guide you always. There comes a point where relentless effort can no longer move what only the unseen can arrange. For so long, Energy has been scattered trying to inhabit spaces that could not sustain the weight you carry. Words have been spent on ears unprepared to hear them. Pieces of the heart have been offered in hopes of being understood. Yet the emptiness afterward only grew heavier. Every drop you gave away seemed to dissolve into nothing, leaving you more hollow than before. That's because what is forming now isn't something that can be assembled by determination or cleverness. It isn't something earned through endurance or crafted by charm. This next encounter isn't born of striving. It arrives on currents beyond your control. No pleading, no compromise, no pursuit will unlock it. It doesn't arrive because of your strength. It arrives because of timing. This meeting will not need performance. Standards will remain intact. There will be no need to chase someone running from their own reflection. Though it may happen in an ordinary hour, its essence will hum with something extraordinary. A passing remark, an unplanned route, a meeting of paths that feels coincidental on the surface, but has been threaded together long before you knew. Nothing about it is accidental. Every thread has been pulled into place behind what is visible. Invisible hands have been weaving each moment, arranging circumstances, readying hearts, clearing distractions, preparing you both for the exact instant when your journeys intersect. And when it unfolds, the difference will be undeniable. It won't shimmer only on the outside, nor will it stir merely sentiment. It will speak to something deeper, something that remembers why it was waiting in the first place. Because this connection was never just about companionship. It was always about convergence. When two lives shaped for purpose finally meet, they don't simply link, they ignite. Dormant parts awaken, clarity sharpens. The burden starts to make sense because someone else knows the language of it. Not through guessing, but because they've lived it. Suddenly the voice carries farther. The reach stretches wider. What felt locked before begins to open. Not because of persuasion, but because of resonance. This is not random. This is deliberate harmony. When two tempered edges meet, they don't dull each other, they spark destiny. Both have been walking through their own seasons of breaking and rebuilding, shedding and discovering, until the time was right. And now, after countless unanswered nights and silent waiting, both are being drawn to a crossing point where their stories mesh, their callings synchronize, and their impact multiplies. No amount of rushing could have summoned this any sooner. No cleverness could have accelerated what required such care. And now, as the hour approaches, readiness begins to settle in. This meeting will not merely feel profound. It will resonate with purpose. Not about effort, but about alignment. Not about control, but about surrender. Make your impact eternal. Join now and be a light in someone's darkness. Two lives, shaped and refined, are being positioned together. And when they finally meet, the world around them will feel the echo of what has been written all along. Some connections are not about sameness, but about resonance. What's coming is not a mirror of you, but a counterpart sculpted differently, and yet meant to move alongside you. There was never an intention for you both to be alike. The beauty lies in the contrast, not to replicate each other, but to strengthen what the other cannot alone. Stories may have unfolded on separate stages. Temperaments may seem worlds apart. Ways of thinking may not always match, but where it matters, the current runs the same. One may carry the daring to disrupt, to step into storms and challenge what others let stand. The other may possess quiet depth, able to sense what is unspoken and uncover truths few would dare name. One may bring clarity through plans and frameworks, shaping ideas into actions. The other may hold discernment in the moment, feeling what lies beneath and seeing what isn't obvious. Together, these differences don't compete, they converge. Like distinct notes creating a single melody. Each part fills the spaces the other cannot. What one begins, the other carries further. What one envisions, the other gives form. What one names aloud, the other affirms in spirit. Both were shaped in obscurity, carved by unseen seasons, learning to carry weight when no one was watching. Not to be celebrated, but to be entrusted. Not to rise above others, but to rise into what was required. This was never about duplicating each other's steps. It was about weaving together different threads into something stronger. Like two artists painting the same canvas with different colors, or two forces moving opposite, yet complementing directions. The point was never to blur into one another, but to complete a bigger design. If your heart overflows with divine love, now is the moment to let it shine. Click the super thank you button on YouTube and give $50 or more to help carry God's light to others. Your gift will bless not only your life, but countless others. You are part of His sacred plan. Your kindness may be the answer to someone's prayer. Share your blessings and honor His kingdom. May His grace guide you always. There will be no struggle for dominance, no bitterness over whose light shines brighter. Both have already been stripped of ego through the fire they endured. Both understand what it costs to carry what they carry. What they crave now is not recognition but impact, not applause but effectiveness. On their own, each already moves powerfully, but together, something larger is set into motion, more than either could have accomplished alone. This is not simple addition, it is acceleration. The two of them joined will unsettle what resists, awaken what sleeps, and expose what hides. When this union happens, be it friendship, covenant, or collaboration, it will ripple beyond the two of them. Chains will loosen, eyes will open. Others watching quietly from the sidelines will recognize the shift and find the courage to step forward themselves. Standing alone was powerful, but united, the resistance has less hold. The path becomes clearer. The intent becomes undeniable. Whatever once tried to silence them individually has no chance of holding them when they stand aligned. This was never just about companionship. It was about creating a capacity together that could not exist apart. Not only were their personalities considered, but their very purposes were crafted to intertwine. Their distinct strengths were orchestrated to harmonize, not for spectacle, but for something far beyond what either imagined. When they finally step into that place together, what is formed will not look manufactured or expected. It will be evident this was never a human design. It was written long before they knew how different they would be, and how perfectly their differences would fit. And in that moment, everything begins to shift. What is about to unfold is not simply an encounter, it is an ignition. When two carriers of light converge, the unseen realm does not remain still. The moment their paths intertwine, the air shifts, and invisible currents begin to stir. This meeting does not just touch two lives, it reverberates through the spaces around them. The connection itself may appear to begin in a quiet, ordinary instant, but its weight will not feel ordinary at all. It will feel as though an unseen gate has opened. The atmosphere will respond before either mind can make sense of it. Clarity will sharpen. The heart will catch signals that hasn't felt before. Words exchanged will carry a strange gravity, as though they were spoken long ago and are only now echoing back. And somewhere deep inside, the spirit will murmur, "This is not what you've known before." Long before words are spoken or names remembered, the inner knowing will arrive first, as if two pieces of a scattered map have finally been placed side by side. And while the mind may fumble for definitions, the resonance cannot be denied. Even forces opposed to this alignment will sense its arrival. Shadows notice when two who have been refined by fire finally stand on the same ground. Resistance rises not because of mistake, but because of meaning. This union multiplies more than presence. It becomes a threat to every darkness that tried to keep it apart. The strength carried separately becomes something entirely other when merged. Patterns that have persisted for generations start to fracture. Barriers that stood immovable for years begin to crack. Paths that seemed sealed suddenly unfold ahead. So expect signs. Expect strange timing that makes sense only in hindsight. Expect doors to swing wide. And equally expect turbulence early on, the friction of the realm reacting to the ground being claimed. Do not let the shaking mislead you. Conflict does not mean misalignment. It means the unseen has recognized what has just begun. This connection does not form from preference or convenience, nor does it rely on surface similarities. It comes from something ancient, rooted in intention, formed outside of what the eyes can see. That is why it feels untamed, holy, and unexplainable all at once. When it happens, it will awaken slumbering parts of you, uncovering gifts that have waited for this very moment. Your vision will sharpen, your voice will deepen, and you will sense areas of yourself unlocking in ways you thought had been lost forever. This is more than two lives crossing paths. This is the beginning of what was written before you even learned how to wait for it. So do not be surprised when everything unseen begins to respond. This is not merely a meeting. This is a spark struck at the center of the realm, the start of what was destined to unfold, long before you ever knew to call it by name. Sometimes it takes time before the pieces finally fit. There have been long stretches where the quiet felt endless, where doors stayed closed no matter how much the heart knocked. Attempts to build something lasting fell apart. Connections dissolved into disappointment, leaving questions hanging. Why did every bond seem to fall just short of what the soul knew it needed? You offered trust fully, only to see it mishandled. You stood steadfast, only to find no one willing to match your weight. You tried to weave something meaningful with hands unready to hold it, and each time it fell away. It left you wondering if perhaps you were asking too much. But now, the pattern starts to show itself. Those broken ties were never wasted. They sifted through what could not stay. Those shallow connections taught you to see past the surface. Those doors that refused to open were not rejection. They were shelter. Nothing was withheld out of cruelty. Everything was withheld to preserve what was still growing inside you. If the wrong presence had arrived too soon, it would have weakened what was still being formed. It would have scattered your focus, tangled your progress, and dimmed the very thing you were being entrusted with. So the quiet was never indifference. It was a shield. The waiting was not punishment. It was refinement. Make your impact eternal. Join now and be a light in someone's darkness. You needed to become the one who would never trade destiny for comfort. And when the time comes and this prepared soul stands before you, something within will settle. Not because of emotion alone, but because your spirit will recognize its reflection. The realization will arrive like clarity after fog. This is why nothing else worked. This is why compromise could not hold. This is what every silence, every ending, every lonely hour was pointing toward. The connection will feel like a release of breath you didn't know you were holding. Your heart will no longer feel like it's carrying too much alone. The weight of your purpose will finally find a counterpart strong enough to walk alongside it. What you labored to carry in solitude will begin to take shape in tandem. The visions you fought for quietly will begin to flourish in partnership. Not because you were incomplete, but because this presence affirms what was already true. This meeting will become a mirror, not to show your wounds, but to remind you of how faithful you have been in the unseen seasons. It will reveal that every detour was part of the design. Every closed path kept you closer to the right one, and every lonely step protected the story being written for you. When it arrives, this connection will carry a stillness, a strength, and a sense of home. You will not have to compete to matter. You will not have to explain the depth of your devotion or conceal the brilliance of your calling. Instead, it will feel as though destiny itself walked in, unhurried yet undeniable. And in that moment, all that you thought you missed, all that felt stolen or delayed, will return in a way more intricate, more radiant, more fitting than you could have dreamt. A perfect answer unfolding in its perfect time. If your heart overflows with divine love, now is the moment to let it shine. Click the super thank you button on YouTube and give $50 or more to help carry God's light to others. Your gift will bless not only your life, but countless others. You are part of His sacred plan. Your kindness may be the answer to someone's prayer. Share your blessings and honor His kingdom. May His grace guide you always. When this destined union finally takes its place, the air itself will carry its imprint. Not just your journey, but the space around you will feel altered. Those nearby won't be able to name it, yet they will notice. They may say, something has shifted in you, or there's a force around you I can't quite explain. And they won't be wrong, because something real, something sacred, something woven beyond sight will quietly unfold. Yet what their eyes catch will only be the surface. They won't glimpse the storms beneath the calm. They won't hear the prayers that went unanswered for years. They won't feel the weight of nights that reshaped you in silence. They won't know how long you stood, unseen and uncelebrated it, waiting for this hour to arrive. Because this connection is not designed for applause. It was never about gathering crowds or building a name. It was never meant to impress or entertain. This is fulfillment, of something spoken long before you could imagine it. Two distinct timelines, finally intersecting where they were always meant to. Two paths, forged in solitude, finally converging for a cause larger than either could carry alone. When this happens, it will release an invisible resonance, an awakening that moves through places words can't reach. It may feel ancient, as though written into your bones, and yet wholly new at the same time. This moment touches more than your own story. It stretches across generations, echoing into what came before and what is yet to come. This connection is not just between two people. It is a carefully placed key unlocking what was always meant to happen here. It will turn hearts, open rooms, disrupt what was stagnant. You may find yourselves positioned in spaces others could not reach, not because of charisma, but because of what you carry together. Your presence will answer quiet prayers whispered in corners you've never seen, and though others will witness the fruit, only the unseen knows the roots. The quiet breaking, the unseen battles, the losses that shaped you, the timing that once felt cruel but was actually exact, all of it stays hidden while the harvest appears. Heaven alone will know the full cost, because this union is not crafted to showcase you, but to reflect something beyond you. It is not a highlight reel for the world to consume. It is not polished for approval or curated to impress. It is the sound of purpose colliding with its moment. So when people notice the shift, and they will, let them notice. But remember this, you were never chosen to entertain their expectations. You were chosen to awaken something they didn't know they needed. Whether they cheer you on or question you doesn't change the truth. The earth may feel the weight, but only heaven understands the story that brought you here, and the power it has yet to reveal. There have been nights when silence felt louder than any answer. Quiet hours where questions pressed hard against your chest. Was your name overlooked? Would anyone ever arrive who spoke your unspoken language? Was the ache of waiting all for nothing? You moved through the days with a brave face, offering light to others while wondering if your own would ever be reflected back. You stayed the course even when it felt like every step fell into a void. You watched others find their place, their people, their purpose, and still you stood. Still you hoped. Still you carried your faith, even when the weight of it bent your shoulders. But here it is. You were never out of sight. Not for a moment. Not through the long pauses, the missed chances, the quiet heartbreaks. Every whispered plea was caught. Every unseen sacrifice was counted. Every choice to keep going was written down. Nothing about this delay was careless. Every moment was measured, because what is coming to meet you now isn't just an answer. It is proof that you were held through it all. This encounter is not something you manufactured, not something you manipulated or chased or settled for out of impatience. You refused to trade your integrity for attention. You refused to settle into false comfort just to quiet the ache. You chose to protect your vision, even when it meant walking alone. And now you are stepping into what was always yours, something so clear, so undeniable. It silences every doubt that said you were forgotten. Make your impact eternal. Join now and be a light in someone's darkness. This meeting is your confirmation that you were being prepared, not overlooked. That someone was being shaped alongside you. That your heart was being strengthened for this exact weight. And theirs was, too. When you finally stand before one another, the recognition will surpass explanation. A stillness will settle over you both, not confusion, not hesitation, but a knowing that runs deeper than memory. The ground beneath you will feel charged, because this is not merely a meeting of two lives. It is the joining of two journeys into something that carries impact far beyond yourselves. The connection will not only heal what hurt, it will spark what was dormant, releasing strength that neither of you could have accessed alone. Together, you will move into spaces that have been waiting for this union. Together, you will unlock what has been waiting to unfold. And those watching from the outside may see only the glow of it, but they will never grasp the shadows it emerged from. The quiet nights, the spiritual storms, the relentless faith it took to reach this point. And though the world may marvel at what they can see, only the unseen knows the full cost, the hidden wounds, the unseen endurance, the quiet trust that held you upright through it all. Because what is about to happen was never just about timing. It was about becoming the kind of person who could carry what was waiting without being crushed by it. So let go of the need to know when or how. Let the mystery unfold as it was meant to. The hour is closer than you think, and when it arrives, everything will make sense at once. All the waiting, all the shaping, all the unanswered nights. This is not simply about meeting someone. This is about stepping into a story too sacred to rush. And when it finally comes into view, it will leave no doubt. You were seen. You were known. You were never forgotten. And now the earth itself will feel the weight of what heaven has been quietly preparing all along.